Oaks Ranch Podcast. Today we're with Lucky Joe.
Eso.
Hey. Tejano recording artist from Metcal, Chelsea, the area of Texas here. Born originally in Weslaco, just a little bit of south from here.
That's right.
He discovered his passion for music early on, picking up the accordion at the age of 15 and quickly making a name for himself in the regional music scene. We all knew about you, right, Lucky? Over the years, he's performed, celebrated artists such as Alma Pulido, Jennifer Peña, and Los Frijoles Románticos, while also honing in his craft as studio musician. Today, Lucky Joe's vibrant performances and commitment to Tejano music continues to captivate all audiences, I think, past the region here in South Texas. Everybody's starting to hear and know about you. So let's start with you, Lucky. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. How did it all start in the big grand city of Edcouch?
Edcouch, Chelsea.
Edcouch, Chelsea.
Oh, first of all, thank you for having me, Julian, aquí en el programa. It's an honor, man. I was actually enjoying you reading that. I didn't know
what parts.
All of it, man. It sounds cool when you hear, your accolades or a little bit of them. But I've been in the industry for a very long time. Empecé muy joven a los 15 años, no musical background, no musical family. Mi abuelito cantaba, mis tíos también, they would mess around con la guitarra. But it was none of my family members were actually serious about the music, But I got to love music at a very early age, man. Mi mamá, she would sit me down every Sunday morning in front of the TV, and after our barbacoa tacos and our Big Red, we'd watch Johnny Canales. And I think that's where I developed este cariño que le tengo a la música, mainly because of my mom. My mom exposed me to the Johnny Canales show, and, every Sunday morning as a kid, it just grows on you, man. And once I got to the point in school where they offered programs, pues that's when I gravitated more toward the music. Pero ya tengo muchos años, and thank you for having me here on your podcast.
Yeah, of course, we would love to have you. I'm curious though, how did you start? I guess you started learning the lyrics. Did you kind of gravitate to a certain type of the Tejano music, or was nomás la música en español? The Spanish music, like. There's also mariachis. There's all kinds of music.
The funny thing, not a lot of people know this. I started playing the accordion. I mean, no, not the accordion, the guitar. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The guitar was the first instrument that I started playing. Actually, the first instrument I started playing was the cardboard insert de las paper towels.
Okay.
That was my turuturu. And I did, that was my first instrument. And then from there, I started, gravitating toward the guitar because my mom, que en paz descanse mi mamá, she was a hairdresser from Elsa, Texas.
I remember it.
So it was called Rita's Beauty Salon. So everybody in town of Elsa would cut their hair there with my mom. She was a very popular hairdresser, or, barber, lo que tú quieras decirle. So we got to know this family que se llama Los Hermanos Layton, and Mr. Benny Layton, Northfilia Layton. Back in the day, they had a group, Los Hermanos Layton. And my mom would cut all her hair. And the accordion player, Mr. Benny Layton, was the one who would, go most to my mom to get his hair cut. And she would always say, "Mijo sabe tocar, mijo, yo sé que mi hijo va a ser músico, and he's got music in him." So that's where I started getting a love for the accordion. Now, when I was a freshman, that's when I started developing this love for the accordion, because back in the day, my brother también, he had a little accordion de la pulga.
Okay, yeah.
Right? And I always wanted to play it. I was like, hey, lend it to me. He would never lend to me. Hasta que la quebró, he broke it and he threw it away. So I went into the trash and I fixed it. Nomás era una little laminita así que it would get stuck open. So I just taped it. So I learned, I think one of my first songs that I learned on that little accordion de la pulga was a song from Los Chamacos. Retírate, retírate, retírate.
Oh,
Ta-da-da-da-da-da-da. So I grabbed the little chord and I was going. Tee, 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 tee. So my mom saw that and she's like, I know Mr. Layton. The instructor de la high school se llamaba Mr. Layton, que en paz descanse.
en paz descanse, I remember him.
Ay, no, mijo, agarró el acordeón de la pulga y está tocando, and Mr. Layton plays the accordion, or he used to play the accordion.
Yeah.
So when I became a freshman, obviously you have to start on the guitar. It's a class called La Estudiantina. So I started on the guitar. And then I would, every now and then, I'd see Mr. Layton play the accordion, and I'd be like, "Oye, Mr. Layton, me toca el acordeón. He'd be like, "I don't know, son. I don't know if you're ready yet." So I think what he was developing, man, he was instilling some kind of drive in me.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, "Let me see how much this student or how much this kid
A ver qué tan seguro estás.
really wants to." So, yeah, I started at a very young age, Julian.
But was that the only kind of music that you were listening at that time? Like that type of music, I guess, was kind of attracting you. But was there something we don't know about Lucky? Maybe you listened to some other kind of music, that was wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually did. And I don't know if I should say it, but I'm gonna blame my brother. My brother, he used to listen to Two Live Crew.
Okay,
he used to
there you
listen
go.
to all these rappers, LL Cool J, Tupac, and I used to listen to that stuff. Man, I wasn't really into Tejano music or música de acordeón or no.
Yeah, I was gonna say because that's kind of
Yeah.
not a norm. Most kids, you're young. You're listening to all the
Yeah.
music that's playing at the time.
Yeah.
And here you are. You started at 15, or you were a freshman in high school, and you want to play the accordion. So I understand Mr. Layton was like, "Wait a minute, what's going on here?"
Yeah, so think about it. 1988,
Yeah.
I was 10 in 1988. So whatever was happening right there, I think we were barely getting out of the disco era. 1988 into the 90s, there was hip hop coming into the onda.
Yeah.
A lot of rock, a lot of 80s rock. So I was listening to all the Def Leppards también, and the White Lions, and the.
Did that inspire you at all?
Well, I think music in general has been an inspiration for me since very young. Very young. I've always gravitated toward any type of music. No tiene que ser música mexicana, música de acordeón, just music in general.
Yeah. So what inspired you? Did you wake up one day and did you think or want to just play the accordion, or did you, desde que estabas chiquito, sabes que yo quiero tener mi grupo?
Well,
how did that develop?
I think my mom's passion for music as well was a very big inspiration to me. I think her passion to see her kids succeed in anything, I always wanted to make my mom proud, because I remember, and I'll never forget this memory, man. I was around 12, 13. I was barely going into junior high, I think. Is that the age? That's around the age, no, of junior high? 12, 13, 14.
Yeah, right. Por ahí.
So she put me in band, and out of all things, I started playing the trumpet, and because I love music, and also because she didn't want me to get hurt. She didn't want me to join sports.
She was smart.
Yeah. She said, "¿Sabes qué? No, mijo," because I wanted to be a football player like all my friends, and I wanted to be around cheerleaders y todo ese pedo, every Friday night. Pero she said, "No, mijo, you're going to be in band." Oh, my God, Mom, really? Yes, band. Pero one of the biggest memories that I have just embedded in my head, man, and just stamped, o sea, sellado en mi mente, fue una de estas noches que we were at a football game, and I was in junior high band, and I was sitting with my band, with the junior high band, and we were at the football game. Estaba haciendo un frío, Julian. Un frío, friazo. It was cold, man. And I'm like this, and I look to the side, to where the parents are sitting, and I see my mom sitting like this, and she's there sticking it out with me, man, and she's going through it with me, and she's watching her son play this trumpet in the freezing cold, and ahí está mi jefita. And I'll never, and
super support.
oh my goodness, man. And I'll never forget. I told myself I'll never make my mom feel ugly about her putting me in band ever again, man. So I played the trumpet. From there, that's when I went when I became a freshman.
Yeah.
I joined La Studentina with Mr. Layton, and that's when I started developing the love for the guitar and the accordion. O sea, instrumentos de nuestra raza.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Especialmente, being from this area.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, from anything from the Beatles to Ramon Ayala. So I have a huge musical selection in my brain.
And what kind of other music do you listen to? Is it pretty much nowadays? What do you listen to?
Nowadays, I have to stay relevant, in this industry. This is a very fast-paced industry. It changes so fast.
Yeah.
Las modas cambian bien rápido. So we have to stay al tanto. Nosotros como músicos, it's just like a business. What are these guys doing that are making them successful? What can we learn from them? What are these guys doing that are not making them successful? Let's stay away from that.
I think I totally agree. I think it is a business.
Mm-hmm.
The music, industry is a business.
Mm-hmm. It is. And a lot of people, it's kind of like a double-edged sword, man, because you enjoy what you're doing, but then again, it's a business. So you have to somehow meet in the middle and try to make it work as best as possible for yourself, and not let the party life take over, because being around alcohol and being around, nightclubs, you can tend to stray away from your focus, from what your business is. It's to provide a service for the paying customer that goes to see you because they like Amor Escondido, they like No Me Sustan, they like Te Amo, or they like IML, they like your songs. So there's a fine line there between providing a service and just going and partying, because it's a service. At the end of the day, es un servicio.
So how much has Tejano music changed, in your opinion, desde cuando tú empezaste and it started to inspire you? And where is it going?
Oh, man.
Where has it been? Where is it now?
Yeah.
And where is it going?
When I started in the beginning, I was around 17 years old. I started with Alma Pulido. I started with Roberto Pulido's daughter. And at that time, in los 90s, 97, I believe, it was 1997. And estaba todo lo que da, bro. Tejano music was al 100%. And what I mean by that is that all the dances were packed. All the nightclubs were packed. All the DJs wanted to play what was trending, which was Tejano music. And slowly through the years, it started changing. And I've been doing this since I was 15 years old. I'm 46 years old. So I've seen a lot of waves come and go. I've seen a lot of musicians. I've seen a lot of bands. I've seen a lot of fads come and go. And it's changed a lot,
Like, what do you mean change? Like, ¿qué onda ha cambiado? I mean, Tejano is Tejano, right?
Tejano's Tejano, but when you look at Tejano music from the 90s, that has lived on for so long that to me, this is, again, my personal opinion. And if anybody disagrees with me, it's okay to disagree.
Right.
But in my opinion, I think Tejano music from the 90s has survived so long that it really has not given the new Tejano music an opportunity to shine.
And why do you think that is?
I have no idea.
I have or it doesn't catch on.
You know what I think? I think it's the listener. The listener is so hard to gain new listeners because the same listeners from the 90s are still alive.
Yeah.
And
that's us.
And and a lot of stations are catering to us instead of catering to the new generation, which is the new generation is what's going to keep you alive, because nosotros ya vamos pa fuera.
Yeah.
We're on our way out. And personally, I think like these stations, like the Tejano stations, should give the opportunity to new Tejano bands to come in and leave their own mark and start their own legacy and leave their own fans. But it's very difficult nowadays, Julian. and I'm not calling out any radio stations or nothing like that, but the Tejano music from the 90s, brother, is still being played today. You're talking about 30 years later.
Yeah.
And it doesn't give room for the new fans. It doesn't give room for the new bands that are wanting to come into this industry, and they're not. They don't want to come in, a lot of them, because of that, because there's no exposure.
Yeah, well, I think in my opinion, como dices tú, I kind of see it in the other types of music. Como la música mexicana, where, you have all these new Mexican young artists playing. Como ellos sí les dieron chance, ¿no?
Es que la
to
música,
do that,
sí.
Pero they're not doing that to Tejano?
No.
You know what I mean? Like, what are those, name some of those artists que están ahorita, like, one of the ones that he's kind of like a Mexican rapper type of.
Yeah, Santa Fe Clan.
Yeah, all those new bands, they're brand new. They're very young.
Peso Pluma.
There you go. That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, Peso Pluma. You got...
So Tejano needs their own version of Peso Pluma type of situation.
Tejano needs their own version of a younger artist playing their music.
There you go.
Yeah. They need and more of it. And let's say we do have them, but the opportunities are not really... They don't have that opportunity to break into... The industry. And again, I'll go back. The industry, the Tejano stations are getting fewer and fewer and fewer. So that has a lot to do with it as well, So if you have a Tejano station that plays nothing but old school Tejano, the listener is 90% 35 and above, 35, 40, 50, 60 years old.
Yeah.
So those are the listeners that are keeping that station alive. You play new Tejano, you turn off those 35, 40, 50. You turn them off because they don't recognize it. They're like, who the heck is that? So the ratings will go down. So they need to stay at a certain ratings so they could keep functioning, so they could keep, working.
So I have a question for you. So how would you recommend like a new artist to kind of le gusta la onda tejana, but he doesn't know quite how to do it? He's trying to get a break in, ¿Cómo le hace? Or how do you go about it?
But why do you think all these bands are recording covers? Because it's familiar to the Tejano listener, and it's familiar to the program director to play a cover, and it's just familiar. That's why a lot of these new bands play cover music. Like they'll re-record Puño de Tierra, they'll re-record a song that was a hit.
Well, do you mind explaining what does cover mean for the general audience out there that doesn't know the lingo?
Okay,
¿Qué quiere decir eso, cover?
So a cover song would be something that has already been recorded, but you're covering it. You're recording it now, or you're doing it live.
Like a redo.
Yeah, a redo. Yeah, in layman's terms, a redo. Yeah, so okay. Like me, I did a whole cover album, and I'm not gonna say a victim, but I followed the trend.
Yeah.
To be able to work, and it worked for me because I recorded Cadetes, I recorded Ramon, I recorded songs from Carlos y Jose. I did a whole album and I called it Tributo a mis ídolos, música norteña, So I'm not gonna lie, that album gave me so much work. Hey, te quiero acá, que te quiero acá, y ven y toca acá, y toca acá, and so much work. And still today, it still keeps giving me work. But there has to be a point in your career, as a musician, I said to myself, there has to be a point in my career where I have to be original again.
Yes.
Because I started original.
Yes,
I started with my own stuff. And then I went to the covers and I said, you know what? It's time for me to come back. So that's why this new album that I have, 95% of it is all original music. Canciones mías, compuestas por mí, al estilo norteño like, como quien dice. But at the end of the day, it's very difficult for la música tejana to hold the impact that it had back in the 90s. Selena, Mafia, Emilio, David Lee. Some of those artists are still alive today.
But it's como dices tú, I mean, we're a dying breed. We're getting older.
Big time.
I'm in my 50s and I remember all those bands. So we're aging we're unfortunately dying away, some of us, los que no se cuidan. And so you have to acclimate to the new generation, como dices tú.
Exactamente.
So the new radio stations don't want to play, or I don't know what's happening here. I mean, ¿qué tiene que pasar para darle chance at the new people? That
I think it has a lot to do with our upbringing. I think our parents have a lot to do. Us as parents, we need to influence our kids to listen to our música, nuestra cultura, nuestra música tejana, and develop that demand for that music. But when your child is listening to peso, which is I have no beef with that.
Yeah.
They can listen to whatever they want. But when they're listening to Peso Pluma, they're listening to Santa Fe Clan, or they're listening to Los Hermanos de something from somewhere else. Están escuchando música y que está bonita y está todo dar, ¿verdad? Pero you need to expose your kids to Tejano music, the new Tejano, the Tejano that you need to create a demand. If there's no demand for it, the stations are not going to want to play it.
And I think that's why they're having success in Mexico.
Yeah.
Todos esos artistas mexicanos.
Oh, yeah.
Porque le están dando esa oportunidad y también la cultura es diferente.
Lo que pasa, Julian, y estoy de acuerdo contigo, lo que pasa es que desde muy pequeños, nuestra raza mexicana, from 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, they're already listening to Cadetes de Linares. They're already listening to Ramón Ayala. They're already listening to Carlos y Jose. And then when they grow up in that environment and they get to make their own decisions, they already have that background influence of all these great artists. And they make their own assumption or decision and pick and choose what kind of music they want to hear. But guess what? If they pick Peso Pluma, or they pick Javi, or they pick these other international artists that are from Mexican regional, they still have that ethnic background of Ramón Ayala, of Carlos y Jose, y nuestra raza tejana, we have, and I'll be honest, I'll be the first one to say it. My kids, they listen to hip hop.
Yeah.
They listen to hip hop and que Nelly, que el otro, and I try to influence them as much as I can, but at the end of the day,
it's really hard.
It's really hard.
But I have kids of my own. So you know all my kids. We've been friends for quite a while. I haven't mentioned it yet on the podcast. But los hemos conocido por un buen.
Yes, sir.
And my kids, the oldest, you started showing them the accordion.
Julie?
We can show some short videos of when that was, and that was back in 2007. So a él sí le tocó for me to show him all the traditional music.
Claro.
Que Ramón Ayala, Vicente Fernández, all those different styles of music.
Yeah.
Pero for my second child, pues un poquito menos.
Yeah.
And then my third child, pues de casi nada.
Yeah.
Because life happens. We get so busy in our lifestyle and working y esto y lo otro. And so it's just challenging. And I think that maybe that's what happens to a lot of people in general.
I agree.
So ¿cómo le hacemos? I mean, how do we do this? Because even here locally in our region, here in the Rio Grande Valley, it's changing.
Yeah. The times have changed. I agree with you 100%. And we're not at fault, because life gets in the way. Life's a little bit more complicated now. And I mean, it's always been complicated, but you have to take time. You have to take time to show your children tu música, and you're going to get that, nah, but mom, that's old stuff, man. I don't want to hear that. But you have to take time to do it. Times have changed. Everything is super fast now.
We were talking about how time is flying by.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Time is flying by. I'm 53. I'll be 54.
Yeah.
And, I'm very happy to have lived this long, and I want to continue to live even longer. But I've lived longer. I'm not going to live another 53, 54 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have to, have less time. And that's how, because time is very valuable.
Yes, sir.
And health. But anyway, can you play a short clip a little bit for us, Roland, on the Lucky was teaching Julian III how to play Juliancito. Pero ya no es Juliancito, he's a big boy.
Julianzote.
Julianzote, yeah. So, we can play that in a little bit. We'll introduce La Marca de Pedraza accordions from Italy. Do you know what part of Italy?
I have no idea, and that's a good question. I need to ask.
Yeah.
I need to ask him.
Está precioso ese país. Oh, a beautiful, beautiful country.
Míralo, ahí
So,
está.
ahí está Lucky. Ahí está little Julian right there. That was back in 2007. Yeah, ahí estás con la... Do you remember what was la first polka? ¿O qué
Oh, yeah. Estírame la pata. I have to say that because it goes.
There you go. So there's his playing.
O rascate la pata. I don't know what the name of the song it is, but está bien chiquito, man.
Tampico Hermoso.
Tampico Hermoso
Was one of the first ones I remember. And I'm very happy and proud that I introduced him to that with your help. Muchas gracias.
You're welcome.
Pero for the rest of his life, tiene la conocencia de la música tejana.
Está bien chiquito, mira.
He's going to be 26 years old, and look at him there.
God bless.
Mira, there he goes. There's another short video clip right there.
Look at him there.
Yeah, right there.
I hope he doesn't get mad because we're showing pictures that we made. Míralo.
Descalzo.
Dad, why are you doing that, Dad?
Ponte zapatos. Yeah, right there in his room. And you you taught him something he's going to take the rest of his life with.
Yeah.
Because fíjate, una vez, Lucky, we were in Fredericksburg.
Uh-huh.
And tú ya estaba chiquito. Y Fredericksburg, they have a lot of German ancestry.
Mm-hmm.
Y tenían una tienda where they had used accordions.
Oh, wow.
Y tú sabes, some males,
standoffish.
Yeah. Y I was very confident because of you. He aprendido a tocar el acordeón, amigo.
Uh-huh.
And tenían unas old, I think they were Honors.
Mm-hmm.
La marca Honor, German. Y le pedí el permiso al señor, hey, do you mind if my son plays the accordion? And he was like, yeah, okay. Que la agarra a mi hijo and he starts, Tampico Hermoso, and he starts, que se le juntan todos los gringos. All the people, man, they start coming around and they were like, wow, come again and play these songs for us. And so, I was very proud of him.
Yeah.
There you go. So, and to this day, saca una cancioncita here and there.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he still plays. He still plays. For the rest of his life, you were a big influence.
Míralo.
¿Quién será ese? El Lucky Joe. Well, tell us a little bit about your current music, Lucky.
Well, ahorita, as you can see right there, that's the cover art for our latest single. It's called A-M-O. And
beautiful song.
Thank you.
Real catchy.
Es una cumbia.
Yeah, real catchy.
Thank you, Julian. Fíjate que I was on the way back from Corpus, from a studio session.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, my brain's always working, it's always working. And to see what else I can come up with musically, for my business. Because at the end of the day, it's a fast-paced business, man. La onda de la música, you got to be on it. It's just always changing. There's new things coming all the time. So I was listening to a song called Crazy from Aerosmith on the way home.
Okay.
And it says, there's a part there that says, girl, before I met you, I was F-I-N-E-5.
Yeah,
right?
I remember that part.
Right?
Yeah.
And I said, wow, man, that's pretty cool, I should do that in one of my songs. I said, what word can I spell out and then talk about it and say it, And I'm like, cariño. C-A-R-E. No, that's too long. I was telling myself, and I'm driving back from Corpus. I think I was passing ahí por la checkpoint. I had just
Van haciendo la canción.
Yeah. And I was in my head and I was like, what word can I use to spell out and then say? And then I was like, pues, I'll just use amo, A-M-O.
Le pegaste el clavo.
Yeah. And then I said, okay, what do I love? Because I just recently got married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Last year I got married in September. And I said, pues, what do I amo about my wife? ¿Qué es lo que yo amo de mi esposa? Pues su caminar. I love the way she walks. I love the way she talks. I love the way she looks at me. So de ahí me fui, Julian, in the song says, Te amo más que nunca, créeme, mi amor. Me haces tan feliz que no aguanto la ilusión. La emoción. La emoción. Siento que me muero si no estás juntito a mí. Hay algo en tus ojos que me hace temblar. Esos dulces labios los quiero probar. Quiero devorar tu cuerpo una y otra vez. And then the chorus says, A-M-O, tu linda voz. A-M-O, tu corazón. So I'm saying, I love your voice. I love your heart. And then he says, A-M-O, cada pequeño detalle de ti. I love every little bit about you. You know, so de ahí se fue la canción, and I wrote it on the way home. I got it on my phone, and I sang into my phone. I got home, and then I added the guitar, and I sent it to Freddie Martinez, the Freddie Records president or the owner of the company. And I said, Freddie, I know we already have all the songs, because mind you, we had all the songs already for the album. The new album's coming out next month, by the way. So we already had all the songs. Mm-hmm. And I said, Freddie,
there you go, man.
There it is. Uh-huh. I said, Freddie, I just wrote a new song, and I think it would be great to be on the album. Excuse me. And he said, send it to me. Let me hear it. So I sent it to him with a guitar nomás. Uh-huh. And he calls me back, and he says, you need to come to the studio tomorrow. You need to come back and record this, because this is going to be your first single, because we're going to release it for Valentine's. It was just perfect.
Perfect timing.
It was perfect timing. So I said, are you serious, Freddie? He says, yeah. So we went back. We recorded the song Así de Voladita, and it's our first release. It's doing very, very well.
There's a very good song.
Thank you. There's already TikTok dances for it, and it's going semi-viral.
Yeah. So for everybody out there, for the fans of Lucky Joe, to help them out, and it's an awesome song, we can request it on the radio to be played.
Yes, you can. You can request it on your favorite radio stations. You can also check out the video on Freddie Records online TV channel, online on YouTube. Uh-huh. You can also download it on all major digital platforms already.
Well, I usually look for it like Spotify, mm-hmm. iTunes, Pandora. That's where I'll look for music. Does that help you, or how does that work out for your fans? Para que sepamos, well, how to help you out.
It generates. It's not an immense amount of revenue, right? But it does help. Ultimately, I'll be very honest. Even Snoop Dogg said it one time. Uh-huh. Snoop Dogg was interviewed, and he's like, "Hey man, your song got streamed 1 billion times, 1 billion times," and he's like, "Yeah." I mean, it generated around $48,000 for 1 billion times.
Wow.
Don't quote me, but that's what I heard. And I'm like, wow, man. Us Tejano artists, we get streamed like 1,000 times. So imagínate cuántos pennies nos cae. No, I'm just saying, for someone in the music industry to really generate a fair amount of income, the song needs to be streamed a lot. I'm talking about a lot. And now it's because now streaming pays differently than radio. Radio back in the day was where it was at. You get played so many times on the radio, and you would get royalties, And unfortunately, nowadays, the stations are few. They're very few stations, and there's a lot of internet stations. So ahorita, la onda del músico as far as regalías is concerned, está jodido. I mean, I can honestly say que está jodido el pedo para nosotros, porque the stations are fewer. The internet stations don't report to BDS.
Is there a lot of competition?
No, a lot of these stations do not report to BDS. BDS is a company that you have to report to, that you're playing that music, and then you in turn have to pay a fee to the musician. So el músico ahorita, if you're not a major artist like a Shakira or a Luis Miguel or somebody that really gets played millions of times, it's very difficult for you to compensate on that end. Where we make our money is in our live performances, where we go and perform.
Okay,
that's where our income source mainly comes from. You can hear me on the radio 20 times and I get a nickel.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that's how jodido tal pedo as far as that is concerned. You know, you can string me 1,000 times and I'll make $1, you know? So
that's interesting.
Yeah. It's a really...
And is that across the board, like the major artists?
Oh yeah. It's the way it is, man. But once you look at major artists, you're looking at, look at Snoop Dogg, 1 billion streams.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at major streamage. You're not looking at a Tejano artist that's streaming, I don't know, 3,000 streams.
Well, going back to Tejano, who would you consider as like the major top 10 artists ahorita? Who's the major contenders out there, or the main go-to?
Mm-hmm.
Or you still, está pasando como dices tú, that the people are still clinging to the past and not giving a chance to new artists? So you still have some of those older artists in there.
Mira, it's very difficult to gain new audiences in the Tejano music industry, porque la música de Tejana no es para el 15-year-old, no es para el 13-year-old, no es para el 16-year-old. Even I'll go as far as to the 20-year-old, 21-year-old. La música tejana tiene que estar, you got to expose your child to the music at a very young age, any type of music, especially la música tejana, so they could develop that love for it. If you don't expose your children to that music, they're not going to have a love for it while they're 10, 15. You know, me growing up as a kid, I was listening to Roberto Pulido, Little Joe, Mas. I was exposed to that type of music at a very young age. But nowadays, Julian, unfortunately, we have younger parents and then themselves listen to the Nellys and the, Beyoncé's.
Yeah, it's a new generation.
And it's a totally different thing, man. They don't listen to Tejano whatsoever. They'll go as far as maybe listening to Spanish rap, like
Peso Pluma,
Peso Pluma, stuff like that.
Pero there has to be, así como tú, there's got to be numerous Lucky Joes out there.
Mm-hmm.
For using you as an adjective. Right?
Exactly.
Tiene que ser varios.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe one of them, one of these days, will listen to his podcast and get inspired by that.
Yeah.
What, advice would you give to that new aspiring artist, que quiere entrar a la onda or wants to be an artist? What would you say? What would you tell him if you had him in front of you?
I would say not to set boundaries on themselves as far as what kind of genre they would want to play. No boundaries, no Tejano, no. Just do what you love to do. If you love Tejano music, do it. But that's not a boundary for you. You could still go into música norteña, música de rap, música de banda, música de... Just because you're from a certain culture doesn't mean you have to stick to that certain type of music. I'd say do not set boundaries on yourself and throw. It's like when you go fishing, man. Vas al Delta Lake and andas con el cut bait.
Yeah.
It's not working.
Yeah.
So what do? You get it changed to shrimp. Orale, dead shrimp. Oh, no. Okay, it doesn't work. Live shrimp. There it is. Yeah. Stick with something that's going to work. And I think that's what I've been doing since I started my career. I started with the Amor Escondido, Duele Quererte. I le tiré a la onda tejana, and then I went to fish in another pond, música norteña, and órale, pum, y ahí saqué, I got some big trophy fish in that pond, man.
Well, have you ventured into thinking, have you ever, something we don't know about,
Mm-hmm.
we're fans of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But something that you've kept to yourself, that you've done that yourself, like you don't just stay to one type of music, like Tejano, something out there, those secret, a lo mejor tienes una secret song ahí that you've never sang, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A Western, maybe.
Yeah, I've done some country.
I've
done some country music. I actually wrote 2 country songs. But those are the ones that I just post like on my social media just to get a reaction from the people. It's very difficult being from a Mexican race, right? My race, right?
Yeah.
It's very difficult to get into the English side of La Onda, That's a whole nother
Well, I
life.
imagine that's pretty challenging. But you would think like myself, yo también soy Mexican American, Mexican heritage. But we're all over the place. Vas a San Antonio, Dallas, Houston.
Yeah.
Pues todos hicimos the
I'm not saying, I'm not saying it's impossible. I mean, Emilio did it. Emilio did it, but Emilio developed his career in the 90s here when la onda was a todo lo que da, man. You're talking about, you had major sponsorships. You had Coca-Cola, you had Bud Light, you had Dr. Pepper, you had all these major corporations that wanted to invest in Tejano music. You had the Tejano Music Awards at the Alamo Dome.
Yeah, I remember.
Where there was thousands of people, man. And I don't know what happened, man. A lot of these corporate sponsors started pulling out. A lot of these major record labels started pulling out from the Tejano music. You had Capitol EMI.
What was the downfall? Where do you think it started going down?
I don't know. A lot of people, man, I just.
In your opinion, what?
I think that we stayed stagnant. I think we stayed.
The lack of new artists.
Exactly. I think we just stayed stagnant in one era, and we never evolved from that era, man. It's been so hard for us to get away from the 90s. It's so hard to break out of that. That Tejano music, it's so hard for a lot of these. I mean, look at the stations. Just look at the stations that broadcast Tejano music. Están contados. And I'm talking about major radio stations that still report to BDS, that still report to whoever they need to report to, that they're playing this guy, that they're still, it's very few, man. So it's just so difficult to.
So where's it going? What's the future of Tejano then?
The future
right now,
I think
it doesn't change. You think it's gonna die out?
I wouldn't necessarily say that it would die out, because through tradition it would live through us.
Yeah,
through us it would live on. Because que en paz descanse mi jefe, my dad still had a drawer full of cassettes, man. De La Sombra, La Mafia, Little Joe, La Tortilla Factory, like so many different Tejano music. So I think through family it would live on, but through major it's just, I don't know, man, so difficult. It would be so difficult. It's difficult right now. You go into the Tejano dances, ya la gente ya no está saliendo, man. Es bien difícil
to get them out there.
It's so hard to get them out there. But the club is packed on hip hop night.
Yeah, I know that.
Saturday night, there's 500 people there. But Friday night, you got Tejano music, and it's like, it's 200 people. There's 100 people. There's 150 people. And I think.
And it's the older crowd.
Yeah, and it's the older crowd that doesn't drink. Yeah. Because why? They're responsible. Because they want to go home. Because they want to go eat their Whataburger. They got to
go work the next day.
Exactly. They got to go eat their Whataburger at the end of the night. Go, spend time with the wifey. Y órale. Yeah. And it's, back in the 90s, it was different. Tejano music estaba todo lo que da. So Saturdays was the night to go out.
Pues por eso te digo, Lucky, I mean, give some advice to the new aspiring people that want to try it.
I think I need to give advice to the gatekeepers, the ones who hold the key to the gate, which is all these few radio stations that are left out. I think we should start giving a chance to the newer generation, the new Tejano music, to come to light. Because guess what? The new Tejano musicians and Tejano singers, they have kids that are easier to be influenced with that music than the rest, So from there, just let it spread like wildfire. And it's just difficult, man. I mean.
But I would think that would be very beneficial for them, because if you do that, you're creating a niche in the market to survive, to bring back that new, new generation que le gusta, and start packing it. It will probably take some time, but you got to start somewhere.
It will. It will take some time, because. And I hate to bring them up, but I'm going to bring them up. Lucky Frontera. Okay. Grupo Frontera came in and just took over big time. Boom, 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 boom. And younger generation to the older generation. Now, Fronteras getting played on hip hop stations, on estaciones internacionales. La música de Frontera es tejano. Ellos son tejanos, ellos son de Texas. Ellos están tocando música tejana. They're not playing hip hop. They're not playing internacional. They're playing tejano music. So what's the difference from no se va to soy tu amor escondido? And I'll use more of my songs nomás to compare.
Right.
What's the difference between that? In my opinion, I see no difference. The gatekeeper that's at the station.
So why do you think they're doing that?
Because they're hyped, they're popular. It's a trend.
Yeah.
It's a trend, and they have to cater to the masses. But that gatekeeper has the foot on all these other artists también, man, you know? And it's very difficult for any of them to get out from under there, because that gatekeeper's holding it down, man. You know, I'm probably gonna get a lot of trouble for this, but I really don't care, because it's about time I said something like this. Porque you hear in every station, man, even on the rock station, you know, I heard a Frontera song once.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, wow. And I'm not hating on it. I love it, man. Que bonito.
Yeah.
Aside from it being a good group, to break that barrier and be able to get played, it's a big, huge deal.
It is.
And I think to myself, what difference? Same instrumentation.
Do you think maybe they're just using it to test the market?
Well,
maybe.
Well,
right?
Well, the thing.
Así na pa que le den chance a alguien más.
Well, when you're selling out SoFi Arena, there's no more testing of the market. It's you gotta play it. Stations were forced to play Frontera. They were forced. They weren't.
So entonces, ¿qué está pasando aquí? What's happening then? If it
there's no
wasn't
demand. There's no demand for a Lucky Joe. There's no demand for a. I'll just say myself. There's no demand.
Okay.
For me, where it comes from, I have no idea. If I had the magical formula, I would use it and then share it with everybody else. But we have to create that demand. And when you look at Frontera's music, or any, I don't use Frontera. I don't care. Their listeners range from 3 years old.
Wow.
To, and it's proven, because you see it on social media. You see the little kids dancing, no se va. And you see all their fan base is from 3 years old to 45, 50 years old, you know. And our fan base is from 35 to 60. Now even 70.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
they're aging.
Yeah, man. And so these people, and I say people, our fans, is more. It's a lot more difficult to fill an arena with 35 and above to go see Lucky Joe.
Well, tell us some experiences. I mean, I've had my own experiences, my own success or whatever.
Yeah.
But for you in your industry that you're in, being from the Delta area, being Mexican American, going up to somewhere else out of the valley, the challenges that you had, you know, just to be played, to be successful, to make a name for yourself. How challenging, and give us some examples of all that.
It was pretty challenging, because I used to be with a band, and a big shout out to my boys from Frijoles Románticos. I used to be with Frijoles Románticos.
I remember.
And that band was full of just an abundance of talent. It was like an all-star basketball team or an all-star football team. All of
like
them.
The Beatles or algo.
Something like that. You know, excuse me. It was being part of an all-star cast, bro. It was like, I mean, musicianship, you know, charisma, everything, songs, everything. We had the total package, man, you know, and it's been, how can I say it? It's been tough, man. It's been tough going on my own, starting from the bottom.
Yeah.
Because when I got out of there, we had like 10 years of trayectoria, 2 albums. But when I got out of there, I started from the bottom, man. Started from the bottom.
Like the song?
Yeah, started from the bottom. Now we're here. So, yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of racism. There's a lot of stereotype. So
I've dealt with it all.
Yeah. So it
and
must be challenging.
Oh, yeah, man. Fíjate que in this industry, as far as like the Tejano music industry, you don't encounter too much of that at the shows. You will encounter it at the places that you go to, let's say like
the bars that
let's say we stop to put gas in Alabama.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
And then there's una miradita como que, go back to your country, man.
From here.
Yeah, I'm from here. But yeah,
I speak English.
We've gone through things like that, but at the end of the day, man, it's about haciendo un trabajo and doing it right and doing it for the people who really do care, who really want to go see you, who really want to pay those $10, those $15 to go see you and perform and do your job.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll go ahead and take a pause there. Okay, we're back. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Lucky, we have somebody joining us, Rene, if you would like to take a moment and introduce him.
Rene Rodriguez, all the way from McAllen, Texas. He's my bajo player. And I say he's mine because you guys better not contract him to do any work for any of y'all. He's mine. He's my bajo player.
You found him.
I found him. No, I've known Rene for a very long time, desde que andaba yo antes de Alma Pulido. I was around 15, 16 when I met Rene. We actually were in a group together, right?
Yeah.
For a little bit. And Rene would go to my house with a bajo, and we'd be sitting outside playing the bajo and accordion. Y salía mi jefe, y mi jefe le decía a Rene, hey, ya ponle para la casa, bro. Me lo corría, vato, mi jefe, que paz descanse mi jefe, but that's how long I've known Rene, and he's been with me not with me, but in the band, for a good 10 years, a good 10 or 12 years. Oh my.
12, I think. 12.
Almost 12 years. Me sabe todos los secretos.
So, Rene, where are you originally from? Are you from originally the McAllen or donde eres?
No, originally I'm from Alamo.
Alamo, okay.
Alamo, y como decía Lucky, the way I met him was that had a friend of mine that his sister was the manager here at Junior's.
Okay.
Junior Supermarket.
Ándale.
En Elsa. Cuando había un Junior's aquí.
I remember that.
Back in the day.
It's gone. Doesn't exist anymore.
And then they made it a Max Fine Furniture.
Yeah.
And then now it's my cousin's adult daycare.
Yeah, that's right.
Big shout out to Eli.
Yeah, he's true. That's true. I know Eli. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I need to bring him one day.
Yeah.
Do a podcast.
A lot of information. Man.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Well, thank you very much, Rene, for joining us. And I think, Lucky, you're going to give us the honor of playing a song or two.
Love was, yeah, love to.
So, yeah, take it away. Go again.
Una polquita. I want to do a polka that I actually composed myself. This is an original polka, and it's called Tapi Tapi. So I named it because Tapi Tapi because of the way it sounds. It sounds Tapi 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 Tapi. So yeah.
Okay.
So I go like this.
Put some applause there.
Hey, sound guy.
Yes. There you go. There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. Why don't you tell us a little bit of history about that accordion, Lucky? You were telling me earlier.
Yes, este acordeón, fíjate que it's a Gambinelli 101, así se llaman. This accordion was bought at Melhart Music Center back in 1995, I think. 1995. This was my very first accordion ever gifted to me by my parents, my mother and my father. I remember coming home one day with this big old suitcase, Julian. It was a suitcase como this big, así. And I know earlier we were talking about La Familia Layton, Mr. Layton, and how I learned through Mr. Layton, que paz descanse. So to test me, if I really wanted to learn how to play the accordion, he knew I had to walk home from school. He knew I had to walk home.
Te miraba when you would probably go home or something.
Yeah, he knew I had to walk home from school because I would say, I walk porque le dije, sir, I want to take the accordion home. Can I take it home? He says, yeah, if you leave $1,000 deposit. I said, sir, I was 15 at the time, 16. And he said, mira, you see that case over there with all those wires, all those speaker wires, and it was a suitcase, Julian, this big. I see, and it was ugly and brown. It was so ugly, but it fit the accordion. Right. He says, take out all those wires, put the accordion in there, and you can take it home. You could take it home for the day and bring it back tomorrow. He knew I had to walk, but what he was doing is he was testing me to see how much I really wanted to learn, how responsible I was, que me valiera, que me hicieran burla, que esto, que lo otro, because I was walking down Ciro Cáceres with this huge suitcase, and nobody knew. And my friends that had cars already was at that age. A lot of friends of mine already had cars, 15, 16. Right. They would pass down Ciro Cáceres and they see me walking and they would say, hey, te corrieron de la casa, okay? Did they run you out? Because it was a suitcase, a luggage. So anyways, I think all that experience, what was your question again?
Yeah, about your accordion. Okay. How did you get that accordion?
Okay, so my mom saw that as well. Okay. She saw it as well. And that experience that I had showed my mom, he's serious about this. He's serious. So we went to Melhart Music Center. And I still remember me and my mom and my dad went and we talked to Jim Melhart, del Mero Mero. And he says, we want to buy an accordion for Lucky. So I've had this accordion since I was 15. So I'm 46. What's that? Like 21 years? Is that great? Did I do the math right? I remember, I went to Ed Cudgels.
So 47 minus 15, do the math, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good 31 years, something like that.
Yeah.
31 plus 15 is
so
46. Yeah.
At that age, around that age is when I met René. Okay. We were part of this band. ¿Cómo se llamaba?
I think we
didn't even have a band yet. Didn't get to
speaking of which, have you ever given your accordion a name? A pet name?
I haven't.
Like Willie Nelson named his guitar.
Este accordion no. Pero the new accordion that I have, La Pedraza, big shout out to.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Pedraza.
Well, Pedraza,
have them up here.
There you go. There you go. La Pedraza
accordion. Está hermoso.
Yeah. Esa tiene un name. No me acuerdo cómo le puse, pero sí le puse un name. La peligrosa.
Traída para que te
sí, La Peligrosa. That's a new accordion. A big shout out to La Familia Pedraza out of Houston. Was it Houston, right?
Yes,
Houston. It's a new brand of accordion that is circling the market, and it's very popular right now, and it's very well made. It's actually made in Italy. He went out there for a while, El Señor, to go study the manufacturing of the accordions. And
Wow.
that wood that we got on that Iralo, todo excited, yo, I'm all excited. Es una madera Córdoba. And
Hermoso. It's a beautiful accordion.
thank you, man. And it has no gloss. Yeah, it has no gloss on it. It's just all natural wood.
Look at that.
Yeah. No, hombre, salió muy bonita el acordeón y estamos bien contentos con la familia Pedraza por darnos la oportunidad de... Yeah.
Y esa tatonada, maybe if you want to tell the people out
that's in the key of
F.
F. Yeah, that's in the key of F. Es más, a little bit lower key than this one. This one's in the key of G. Pero yeah, I mean, going back to René, he's been with us for a very, very long time, man. And estoy bien agradecido con todo el trabajo de René que es, no falla, lo bonito de René es que no falla. Es un buen soldado. And basically all my musicians, man, all my musicians are pretty much, we're a tight-knit family and se aguantan, like this past January estuvimos sin trabajo por mucho tiempo, porque pues el mes de enero para el músico es bien difícil. Okay. El primero del año, a lot of people are working on their taxes, a lot of things are happening. They just got back from, the New Year, Christmas, Thanksgiving. A lot of people are spent, Yeah. So the music industry goes on a little, limbo for a little bit. For us. I don't know about the rest, but for us, that's what happens. And they've stuck by me for a very long time, so yeah.
So you guys have been traveling together and on your gigs and so forth.
Así es. Tenemos a big shout out, ahorita que I'm on the subject, a big shout out to all my musicians, all my fellow musicians, like Jorge Arellano on the drums out of Donna, Texas. I got Daniel Perez from Brownsville. He plays the fiddle. And he also does Guido and Animación.
Wow.
Mike Benavides from Kingsville, Texas. He does the congas. Oscar Ramirez, he's on the bass from Santa Rosa. And who am I forgetting? Am I forgetting anybody else? I think that's it. Yeah, for the most part, we're a tight-knit family. And we've been together for a very long time, yeah.
Yeah. ¿Cuánto tiempo tienen ya juntos?
Oh, man. Pues yo y René, desde...
Since you were 15?
Since I was 15, man. Es un matrimonio. Es un matrimonio, but we live in separate houses.
That way. So,
and the rest of the guys, like, we vary. The conga player, Mike's been with us for about 7 years, 8 years. George apenas entró. He probably has about 3 years, maybe. Daniel también, probably about 2 years. The old school cats are me, René, and Oscar, the bass player. Oscar's been también about 10 years. Yeah.
And have you done any gigs over there towards the Eagle Pass, Del Rio, Carrizo Springs?
Yes, we do the Kickapoo Casino. We do that. Casino. Yeah, every, once a year. We try to be there at least once a year. Ya tenemos muchas conocidas por allá, por esa área. So we have done that area before. Yeah.
Me está recordando, totally off subject, but have you ever noticed there? I think it's in Carrizo Springs. I think it's the only privately owned Church's Fried Chicken, and they sell menudo and barbacoa.
We have seen.
Is that crazy? Or
that is nuts. Yeah.
The only one in the nation.
Yeah. And you know what I think? I think corporate allowed them to do that because it's a family. Es una family que siempre ha sido eso.
Yeah.
And I think they allowed them, like, no, pues give us a percentage y dale gas.
Yeah. But it's crazy. Oye,
yeah.
Fried chicken is bad for you, ¿verdad? Y dame un menudo y una barbacoa and a Diet Coke.
Yeah, you're not Diet Coke.
Yeah, I had an experience out there once. También me acuerdo, there's a restaurant that in the same building, but there's a different entrance to it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe people out there, I have family out there in the Eagle Pass area, bastante familia. Shout out to them. But anyway, so there is a funeral home and a restaurant on the other end. Just past the churches on the same street.
Oh my goodness. Are you
on the left-hand side, like a block, maybe 2 blocks por lo mucho.
Fíjate.
Yeah, so mire, you're looking for a place to eat, ¿verdad? And there was a bunch of cars parked there. So it's gotta be good, right? Y I guess no había puesto cuidado mucho on the funeral home sign. So me bajo. And por error entré donde era el funeral y estaban todos medio serios. Y miro que, it's like a funeral home. And
Oh, no.
le dije, I was looking for, no, si es por la otra puerta, nomás I have to, no, it's right here next door. Just, le dije, no, I'll pass. Yeah.
No, thank you.
I
don't like this buffet.
Yeah, exactly. Que me subo, no, we're not, let's go somewhere else. But, so it's a very unique town in Carrizo Springs. And
we've been there quite a
Crystal
bit.
City, todo eso.
Crystal City.
Awesome people.
Yeah.
Gente, bien amable, super nice y todo, pero para que mires que different regions is very different, ¿verdad?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We've traveled the whole United States, man. Esta onda de la música nos ha llevado para diferentes partes de los estados, and we've experienced everything, Julian, from racial slurs to an acceptance from everyone. And being on the road, being a músico, está difícil, man. No es para todos, pero pues si amas lo que haces, it's just like anything. You love what you do, you're going to keep doing it.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about when you start writing your new material. How does Lucky go about it? You dream about it and you write it down? De repente te pega and you write it? So
it's funny.
How's that process?
It's funny that you say that, Julian, but because I have dreamt about certain songs that I've written. And I'm in my dream, I'm like, man, that's a badass song. And then I wake up and I don't even remember it. But in my dream, I'm like, man, that's a hit and this and that. But I wake up y banda vete la canción. I don't remember it. But to answer your question, I really have to sit down and
do you have a process?
Yeah. For the most part, if I really have to write, I have to sit down and, treat it like a business, treat it like a project, because I have to, if I'm under the gun, right? But like IMO was just on the way home, and I was just driving home from Corpus, and like I said the story earlier, I was listening to Aerosmith, and it was, girl, before I met you, I was FINE fine. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. I said, I'm going to write one like that. And then I wrote it, and that was just spur of the moment. I didn't sit. And I think those are the best ones, man, to tell you the truth. The songs that just come to me like that, boom, without having to sit down. Okay, I got to write about this. I got to write about that. Those are the ones that really hold like a special place for me. The ones that are just boom, out of the blue.
Because you do have a lot of original material. A lot.
Oh, yeah. I've like over... I looked on BMI the other day nomás para BMI is a platform where they register all your songs, all your materials, right? So I went on there and I have about a little bit over 90 something original songs. Yeah. Juan Gabriel had over 2,000. Pero I voy.
And so those are the rights to your songs. You never know. I mean, el mundo da muchas vueltas. The industry might change and it comes back stronger than ever.
Mm-hmm.
So if that would ever happen, you would get paid dividends on that, royalties, or how does that work?
Well, the only way you could get a royalty off of something that you create is if someone recreates it or re-records it, right?
Okay.
So I would have to get re-recorded, and registered, and that's how I would make more royalties, como quien dice. Or if the industry changes and more radio stations pop up, like here, like all over the United States, that play our genre of music, and BDS takes into effect. Now, BDS is a broadcast system that tracks how many times your song is being played.
Right.
And then it sends them a report, and they have to pay the royalty from there.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a big old, es una onda.
Business.
It's a big business. So if that were to happen, then yeah. But we would need more Tejano stations to pop up all over the country.
You never know.
And pues, you never know. I mean, again, like look at Frontera. Frontera did it. Frontera's getting played in major radio stations, and not only Tejano stations. They're getting played in hip hop stations. They're getting played in alternative stations. It's just a big, support system that they have. And that's awesome. Porque ahorita, that's what we needed. I think that ultimately we needed to be recognized in some shape or form as far as our Tejano music. And they're doing it with pride. They're doing it. They're doing a great job.
Because look at the whole Rio Grande Valley.
Mm-hmm.
We all have enjoyed, our parents, us right now, the new generation, we're Mexican American, decimos de la región.
Yeah.
And I think it would just take another, for the lack of a better term, como dijimos, un peso pluma in the Tejano industry.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody new, somebody creative que le den chance.
Yeah.
And then that would maybe crack the door open para que, hey, you know what, let's give this a chance. That, another comeback.
Well, I think that we should all, and in my opinion, right, this is my opinion, I think we should all use what Frontera is doing right now as a trampoline, as a trampoline, and ride on that
train,
and get on that training and ride on that coattail. And I say it with I'm proud to say it that way. I don't care if I have to ride on that coattail because it's working, so we have to go with what's working. And at the same time, it wouldn't be a bad idea for Frontera to invite me on stage. You know what I mean? Bobby did it. Bobby went on stage with them, and they're covering Desvelado. Frontera covers Desvelado, and what I mean by they cover it is they also sing it. They sing Desvelado. So this past time that they were here, Bobby actually got on stage and sang with them. I think was it at the Dodge Arena or the Payne?
I think the Payne.
It was at the Payne Arena, and there's thousands of people. And you see, that is what's going to help our industry. Someone like Frontera to be able to give us a hand and be like, hey, suete, here we go. This is where we come from. This is where it comes from. To give these younger audience, because I guarantee you, don't quote me, but I guarantee you that at least, I would say maybe 30%, 40% of the people didn't know who Bobby was, because you're talking about 15-year-olds, 16-years-olds.
This is lógico. Everybody,
yeah.
Like my own kids, they don't know who a lot of the other groups were. And we were just talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
My oldest son, because yo le enseñé y empezó a escuchar toda esa música,
claro,
todos esos artistas, and he got influenced by you with the accordion and so forth. Pero, life happens, and our younger kids, we get busy, we get older, but we need to make a comeback. We need to show them, we need to make that time. You're right on.
Yeah. And podcasts like this, man, are really what helps the industry more, because the fans, they get to know the behind the scenes. They get to, know the artist away from stage.
Yeah.
And that's very important. It's very, very important. And it goes not just with artists, but it goes with political figures. It goes with people in whatever industry you wanna bring on, man, because you get to know that person for who they are and what they stand for and where they're coming from. And that's very important. Not just seeing the guy on stage playing the accordion, but know what he's going through, know what the industry's going through, and know what's happening in La Onda and what we're feeding our kids. What we're feeding as far as music is concerned, guys, not the burgers. What we're feeding our kids as far as our culture. Our culture is very important. I'm very proud to be from a Mexican heritage, man. I'm very proud to be, and I want to instill that in my children. I want them to learn that, hey, we used to eat barbacoa that was made in the hole on the ground.
Yeah.
And well, Dad, what? What are you talking about? No, yeah.
Exactly.
So we should all be proud of our culture and instill all our roots within our children, especially our music.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I'm a proud American. I had federal service.
Exactly.
I served in that form for about right under 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm part American, but I don't forget my heritage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a balance.
Claro.
But going back to, I believe that Tejano is a big part of our heritage here, especially in the Rio Grande Valley.
Course.
Yeah. And I'm trying to do my part, having my podcast here from our region in the Delta area, but we're, on YouTube, people in San Antonio are watching us in Eagle Pass, different areas, especially here in the Rio Grande Valley, and we'll see how we'll do. But thank you very much, Lucky, for coming today.
Thank you.
Super appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. And I know sometimes I ramble and I go on and on and on and on, but what you're doing here is allowing us to speak our mind. This platform that you have just created, I wish you nothing but the best. Que Dios bendiga este programa, because you're not only going to have topics about music. I understand you're going to have topics about everything that's going on basically in the world, and that's beautiful. For us, this is an open invite, an open opportunity for the fans to get to know us on a different scale, and we appreciate that. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you again, Lucky.
Thank you, hermano.
And thank you again, Rene. Thank you very much.
Una canción,
appreciate it.
una polquita o qué.
Lo que quieran.
Para irnos. Ay. How many times did you hear this one? Para Juliencito. Only at the Delta Oaks Ranch, baby.
Thank you very much, guys. That was awesome.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you, brother.
Can you do one more?
One more what?
Maybe your new song?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Vámonos.
Pa' que marre. I think they're joining. I think I'll join.
Do one more. We'll do one. Just like that. All right, guys. This is the latest one. Actually, we've never done it acoustically like this.
This was
Yeah.
first for Delta Oaks, right?
Yeah. It's called AMO. Te amo más que nunca, créeme mi amor. Me haces tan feliz que no aguanto la emoción. Siento que me muero si no estás juntito a mí. Hay algo en tus ojos que me hace temblar. Esos dulces labios los quiero probar. Quiero devorar tu cuerpo una y otra vez. AMO, tu linda voz. AMO, tu corazón. AMO, cada pequeño detalle de ti. AMO, tu caminar. AMO, tu forma de hablar. AMO, cada pequeño detalle de ti. AMO, todo de ti. Hoy nomás. Te amo más que nunca, créeme mi amor. Me haces tan feliz que no aguanto la emoción. Siento que me muero si no estás juntito a mí. AMO, tu linda voz. AMO, tu corazón. AMO, cada pequeño detalle de ti. AMO, tu caminar. AMO, tu forma de hablar. AMO, cada pequeño detalle de ti. AMO, todo de ti. Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Go.
The crowd. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Chica.
That's a good one right there, man. That's an awesome one.
Ay.